Hey guys, Cindy over Paper Old and New. Thanks for stopping by and spending some time with me today. I am looking at doing another Making From My Mess video. I'm having fun going through and fumbling with all my scraps. One of the things I do with them sometimes is I take out punches and I just go through the scraps and I say, okay, I'm going to punch these. One of my favorite things to punch right now is whale tail punches so that I have them ready. But I like circles. I like making things out of circles. I like the shape. So I punched a whole bunch of these, and I did go through this bag to find some that I wanted, and I also punched some new. So if you've got like scraps laying around, and you can do these in any size, although I do have a couple favorite sizes. If you have scraps laying around like this and you've got circle punches, you can make flowers. So we are going to make some little 5-petal flowers, and I think these are really cute. I honestly cannot remember where I saw them a while ago, and I can't remember who it was that I saw do them. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to overlap 5 circles. Okay. I kind of do this on my desk because the last one you're going to want to do, see how they're all, this one's on top of this one's on top of this one. So this one will go on top, but then it needs to tuck under this one. So they kind of make a little, you see that? Now, it would probably be easier if you did it upside down, because what I'm going to do next is I'm going to flip it over. The small ones are easier to flip than the big ones, although once you go to lay it down, it kind of misshapes. Okay? And then you're going to go like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some scrapbook page. This part is not going to be seen, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like. You just have to punch a piece that you are then going to take, and I refilled my glue bottle, guys, so this should go pretty okay. So we just take some glue and stick it on the back here. All right, and we're going to stick this right down in the middle. I kind of like to get it like that, and then right down in the middle of my flower. Okay, now that's going to hold the whole thing together. All right, and then what I usually do, and this is optional, but if you're not going to do this, I would set this off to the side until you're sure that the glue on the back is dry, because while it's wet, these will still wiggle. So what a lot of times I'll do is I'll go in and I'll put a dot of glue between each petal. So I go in there and I do this. Okay, just a dot, just enough to tack it down. Okay, and there you have it. It's a little flower. Now you just have to decide what you want your center to be, or if you want a center. As you can see, I inked around this. You can see it on the back better, but I inked around these. Now I chose not to use like the typical vintage photo or, you know, one of those. I tried to use a color that would go okay with the flower and make it, and like add to it. So on this one, I used wild honey on a few of them. So that's one. Let's do another one. I'll do this size. This is also done with wild honey. Uh-oh, I'm already spilling. I don't need to tip it because it's full. Okay, so what I was saying before was if you turn it over like this, you don't have to flip it. So I'm just going to go around just like we did before, except this one's bigger. And it goes on top, and then on this one it goes underneath. So it kind of, and then you just kind of wiggle them until they're in that sort of flower shape, and there's an even amount of each petal showing. And then once you get it where you want it, you kind of try to, okay, once you get it where you want it, then you punch your circle for the back. I'm going to do the bigger punch on this one. And we're going to glue the back secure. Oh, my glue is leaking. Please tell me that was a bubble pop. Okay, and then I'm going to carefully push down and stick my backing on. Okay. And there we have it. Okay, now again, a dot between each petal. Now obviously if you want these to be like 3D somehow, I don't know how you would do that. Only because I guess you could let them dry really good so that there's no wiggle room on that circle on the back. And then you could maybe fold the flowers, fold the petals a little bit, like curl them or, you know, whatever. The circle pretty much holds them together. It's just that they'll wiggle out of place if you don't wait for the glue to dry. I love the way these look. I think it makes a really cute flower. I'm not really sure. It reminds me of a flower that I actually used in my last journaling kit. The Bright Blooms kit actually has a flower that's like 5 round petals like that I love. So I think these are great. So let's go ahead and make a few more of these. So we're gonna, it's like dealing cards. Goes, oops. Well, under this, over that. Push it all together. The other way you can tell, kind of, is it should come to a kind of point in the middle. I don't know how to explain it without being able to show it to you up close. But sometimes you can see that one is sitting lower than the others, or it needs to slide up a little bit into a slot until it comes to a pinpoint there in the center. And since you have the ability to make these with your punch out of any paper that you have, you can make these out of digitals, you can make these out of scrapbook paper, any paper that you think would make cute flower petals. Okay. And I mean, you can get a ton of these made. What I might do is I'll just slide that one off to the side and we'll flip this one over and we'll do this one. Now, if you got double-sided paper, obviously you can, pick whichever side you want. I did try them, because there's an odd number of petals, I did try the mixing and matching thing where you, what do you call it? Like use 2 different patterns. The problem is you have 3 of one and 2 of the other. And because of the way they come together, you end up having your 2, if you're alternating, your 2 come here, and then you've got 2 of the same pattern come together there. So you have same pattern, same pattern, same pattern, and then you have same pattern, same pattern. And depending on the patterns, that might look okay, but for the ones that I tried, I didn't like it. So I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to slide that up there and I'm going to let it dry. I want to let it dry just to see if I let this dry and I don't let them wiggle, how the petals do. Like, okay, so this was this size. I think that's the smallest I go. All right, and then these are this size. I have one big one. So let's try this and see what it looks like. I mean, it's going to look like that, but bigger. No, there's one there. This goes up like that. Okay. All right. Now for this one, I can get a nice big circle to hold it together. And then what I thought we could do is, once we get a bunch of these made, we can look at different ideas for centers if you want to put a center on it. Okay, so let's do that one. We'll do some more small ones. I like this size. I think this size is really versatile. Because I think it can be used in a lot of places. I think it can be used on journaling cards, on pages, on, I just think it's really a versatile size. Not necessarily a cooperative size. Close. What I really should have done was like a multiple ways to use your circle punches. Maybe I should. Maybe we should just like do these flowers and then go into another, because I got a couple of different things I like to do. Wow, that's a lot. Let me get the rag. There's a lot of excess glue. Okay, we'll put that one up there. I really wanted to do one of these. I know, I said I was going to move on, but I want to do one of these polka dot ones. Okay, so I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to pull some center ideas. And then maybe, like I said, maybe we'll move on to other things we can do with circles. Because I have a couple, and I want to try them all. And we might as well just go ahead and get into it. While I've got all these circles and circle punches out here. Okay. Okay. So let me let these dry for a bit, and let's move on to another idea that I had to use circle punches. You can, and I love the way these turn out if I can find what to do with it. Guys, I lost stuff again. I know you're shocked. Okay, sorry, I had these strips. I knew I had them. I just didn't know what I had done with them. Okay, so what I'm basically going to do is we're going to make circle cluster belly bands. I love these. Let me see how long this is. All right. I don't care if the end is straight or not, only because I'm going to be covering it up more than likely. Okay, so we have this, and then is this one about the same size? Almost. Okay, they're all different sizes, but we'll work with what we got. I actually might make one. And see how that's cut at an angle? It doesn't matter. Does not matter in the least. I'm going to make this one 5.5. And see if we can't make a cross. Okay, now I am going to pull out apple circles for this because I'm working in my apple journal, finishing it up, and I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I need a brown ink. Okay, so basically what you do is you take your circles and you just kind of glue them down. You don't even have to have a base piece if you don't want. So this was my original thought when I did the bag that I showed you, this bag full of circles. My original thought was to have stuff ready to make. That is drying out. I'm going to have to get a re-inker, guys, or a new pad, one or the other. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to put some glue on here. Now, I usually do the center. The reason I do the center and not the whole thing is because, like, as I'm doing this, I might look at it and go, you know, I would like to tuck up under there. So just don't go all the way out to the end. And then maybe I take this guy and put it on here like this. And this is a great way to use up scrapbook paper. And if you're working on a project and you've got scraps from that project, it's a great way to make a little something to go ahead and put in the project. I mean, actually, you know what? We're going to put this up here because overlapping that, and then I'll put this right here. Okay. So far, so good. All right. And then I can take something like this, and then this I might want to go like that with. Let me see that one. Let's do that one. Okay, so I'm going to put glue at the top on this one because I know that's going to be under the paper, or on the brown paper, I should say. Okay, and you just work on what you got. Okay, so then I'm going to work up here, and I might add another stripe up here at the top. I'm going to put it on the corner so I don't miss. Okay. And then let's see, what else do I want up there? Maybe some more of this blue. We're going to put it there. It doesn't seem to want to go any lower. And then what I can do is then we have all of our little guys, and you could do something like that. Yes, no, maybe. This is the problem also when you're working with, what do I got, an even number of patterns here. I shouldn't say problem. I definitely don't want another bucket. Okay, so maybe this will be my best bet. And of course, if you wanted to, you could leave that and it could be someplace where you put an embellishment of some sort. I don't know what that embellishment would be right now, and I'm a little leery of not being able to find something, so I'm just going to go ahead and stick this apple right here and worry about it later. And then let's get some more stripes down the bottom, and I think I'll use a bigger one. I might stick it right in the center, like this. Well, kind of in the center. Okay. Now I can stick one of these here. There's a U. Now, of course, when you're done, if you want, you can go through and glue down all your edges. I mean, because, they might stick up or get in the way or, whatever, which is a valid point. But to start off with, I have a tendency to lean more conservative on the gluing down because I don't want, oh, that's two of the same size right there. I don't like that. I don't know if a little one, no, I don't like that either. I might have gotten myself in a little bit of a hole here. You can also make it stick down further. So if I want to, I can, before I go making this a big deal, I can always just make this stick down further. So what I'll do is I'll put glue like that, and then I go like that. And it just sticks out further. Makes the band wider. And then having done that, if you want, you can stick, something out a little further on this side at the top so that it doesn't, it's not too uneven. That makes sense. I know, I started inking and then I stopped. Okay, so we have that so far. And then I might want to take, I have some big barrel ones, and I could take one of these and go down here like this. Oh, that's going to way extend. That's okay. The other thing is of course, you might end up cutting this off at the bottom, which is fine. When you go to stick it on a page, I mean. So if you end up sticking this somewhere and you have to cut part of it off, then like, because I made this 8.5, so I'm just gonna leave that there. No, I'm not actually, and I don't like the fact that I glued that there, but I didn't realize I was sticking it to the back of the band, but I should have. Okay, and then I might stick this on here. Like so. Again, we're going to go under that little guy. Okay. And then I wonder if I should. Do I have a green one? A bigger. There we go. Like that. Okay, and you've made yourself a belly band. Now, or a tuck. I guess you could use it as a tuck, depending on where you stick it. So then you would take it and put it on a page. Let me see. Okay, so if this is a page, then it would go on here like this. And as you can see, it hits top and bottom. So I might cut off there and I might cut off here to make it flat. But then you've got an interesting little belly band to go down the center of your page, and then you just tuck something under there. I don't have anything. Sorry. This. Like that. Right? Cute. I like it. Okay, so I got one that way, and then what you do is you take it and you do the same thing, except you do it this way. And maybe we'll start with this guy. And then we'll do I should be doing this on a glue pad because of the hang off, you do have a tendency to get glue all over wherever you're gluing. Just a word of warning. Let's do a little one first. Okay, and you can go out to the end. When you get out to the end, you can either make it a big one on the end, or, you know, however you want to play out here. Oops. I glued on the wrong side. Okay, it's going to be, like I said, glue all over my table. Oops. Now, because I've gone out that way big like that, I might want to try and figure out a way to well, I might stick that there. Okay, so we'll stick this on here like this. Why is it doing that? This paper curls when I stick glue on it. All right, let's get some of this. Okay. And then what we'll do on the other side is up like that, maybe. Keep sticking it on the wrong side. That's really why I have glue all over the place, is because I keep gluing on the wrong part of the circle. Can't seem to keep track. Am I out of, I might be out of these guys with just apples. Let's see if I've got any in here. I swear I had a ton. I don't have any more than art buckets. I just kind of need that to come to a... What I might actually do is stick that on there and then cut those corners off. Like cut it out. So I'd stick this down on here, and then that kind of draws them to points on either end, sort of. And then I would probably cut these. See these corners sticking out here? I would probably cut those so that they're not there anymore. Let me see my scissors. There we go. So we cut around here like this. Just so you can get an idea of what, well, we can both get an idea of what it would look like with that cut off of there. You could probably just peel it back and cut it short, but I want that to have some card behind it. Because while this is card, these two aren't really. The stripes and the apples aren't really card. Okay, so that would be that one. And I think these turn out really cute. So that's another thing you can do with circles. All right, now, the next thing I want to show you that you can do with circles, you need the circles to be kind of a cardstock for the outside circle. You're going to need 4 circles. We are going to make some hidden paper clips. And they turn out really cute. But you do need for your outside pieces to be like a cardstock. So like that. Oops. Those are cardstock. Okay, and then your inside pieces can be anything. All right. So basically what we're going to do, I have some paper clips here. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to take a paper clip and we're going to see how, because I want this to be a tab kind of. So I want it to stick out a little bit, but I need this circle to be wide enough. So let me see if my other, that seems long. I wonder if these are stubbier. I got these from my sister and they were in a chain when I got them from her. Not really sure. Why they were in a chain. They were. Okay. All right. So basically I want to see where my long piece comes to. All right. So maybe right about there. And I can cut off. I'm going to fold it there. And I'm going to cut right below that. All right. So we're going to clip it like that. All right. Good so far? Okay, and then we're going to take our paper clip and we're going to clip these two together. All right, take it all the way down. Make sure that your bottom is still on the paper, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to glue your circles on here like this. So let's do the first one. All right, and you're just going to glue it on here like this. Now, I'm going to hold at the bottom because that's the part where the paper, this is the long side of the paper clip, and the paper clip comes almost to the bottom. And I want the glue to catch that paper so that it glues to the outside cardstock. Now, if you made these, mine are just big enough. These circles that I'm using are just big enough. And I think this is my 1.5 inch. Yeah. So if you used a 2-inch punch or, you know, do they make a 1 3/4 punch? I do have a 2-inch punch here. So you could use a 2-inch punch. All right. And then we're going to glue on the other side. And this time I'm going to glue the tops together because I don't want them to be, I want them to be all one piece. And this is an overdo it glue project. Now, I'm not overly concerned. If you look in there, you can see that the paper in there is colored. I'm not overly concerned with what the inside of the paper clip looks like, but if you were worried about that, you could always turn the white to the inside. I didn't think about it when I was doing it. I just turned it so that I couldn't see the design, but I didn't think about the fact that that's the part that's going to be your open piece. So just turn the white and glue the design to the back of your stuff. And then you avoid that. Okay. And then you have this cute little circle paper clip. That'll go on your page really tightly. Once all the stuff dries, it'll be fine. And then it's got a little tab that sticks out here, which I think is adorable. And you could put, you know, an eyelet through it and hang something off of it, or just leave it like it is, or whatever. And since I like circles so much, that's adorable to me. So that's another way you can use circles. Give me a second and we'll go through and we'll make another one. I will get, let's actually make a bigger one. I'm going to get my 2-inch punch. And we're going to punch 2 circles like this. Okay, so this is card. Let me see if I've got any. I just want it to be paper. I don't want cardstock for this. So that's why I'm being, I don't know if that's 2 inches. Just. Okay, we got 2 inches. All right. Now, on this one, you have the option of saying, okay, this paper clip can sit all the way down this far. Okay? So if I was to put this on here, the way I would do it, anyway, is I would put it on there and then I would fold it where it meets the paper clip. And then, because whatever you leave above the paper clip as far as the amount of your circle is how much will stick off the side of your page. Does that make sense? So, at least in my brain, that's the way it's working. So the higher up I cut this, does that make sense? The higher up I cut this, that determines how much sticks off my page. So if I cut it way up here, and I'm going to cut them both at the same time, I look at it and I say, okay, that might be a good amount to stick out of my book, or, you know, like that. Okay, and then I put my paper clip on here like this, and then we're going to glue our circles down. Okay, so we'll do the long side first. And again, so you've pinned the 2 pieces of paper together so that you have the open space in the middle. Okay. And then we're going to glue to the paper so that everything opens up properly. All right, and I put glue on the paper clip, on the edges. I want to make sure everything gets glued down good. And then we're going to take one of these and we're going to stick it on here. All right. And get that glued down good. Pinch it at the bottom. Now, of course, whenever you do something like this, there's always the possibility that the glue that seeps out will close your paper clip. So you might have to go in and check it again. Okay. And then we will glue to, let's make sure we're still open down here. I just want to make sure this still separates. Answer that may be no. Yeah, okay. There's some glue in there. Okay. Now we're going to put glue all over the paper. And then I do want glue on the back of the cardstock because I do want these to pinch together to make the tab. All right. Do that. Uh-oh, it moved. Okay. And then again, you have an adorable little round paper clip. I just saw this and I can't remember. I'm going to go into my playlist and find the video where I just saw these little circle paper clips. And I'll link. At the very least, I'll link the channel. If I can find the video, I'll link the video. I can't remember. I don't think it was the first video I've watched by this particular creator, and I apologize. I don't remember your name, but I'll get it and I'll put it in my description box. So these are little circle paper clips. Love these. Okay, and then we stick it on here. Well, there we go. And then it sticks out of your book. And like I said, I think it would be really cute to punch a hole in there and dangle something off of it, or, you know, you could decorate these up, and tons of fun, right? So that's 3 things we've done with circle punches. There was one other thing I wanted to do. Let's dive back into my bag of circles. So for this one, I'm pretty sure this was G. Kerr that I saw do this one. So for this one, you just kind of want some papers that go together. I'm going to use paper, maybe not cardstock. I don't know. Let me see. I could maybe this paper cardstock. That might be okay. And then you would take circles of the same size. You see my mess? This is what I'm talking about. Tons of circles. Now that I've got this out here like this, I'm going to end up finding, like, here's a big circle like that. I don't want to make big ones of these, but there's a big circle like that. I'll take that. Maybe this. That might be fun. Okay. For this one, I know what I was thinking and I can't find it, so you're going to have to bear with me. I'm pretty sure I stuck it. Yeah. Unfortunately, this doesn't fit, but I might look. At using it as decor anyway. That's what I was looking for. Okay. Ooh, or maybe this one, because it's got the. And then, all right, let's go with those. And then we might get out some blingy things to decorate some of this stuff up now that we've made it. Let's get these back in the bag. I'm dropping circles everywhere, guys. It's going to be a mess. Okay, I am going to need ink for this. And I actually might get my wild honey back out. First of all, because it's nice and works. It works. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, and one issue I do have is I don't have my, I might have to leave you for just a minute and go get my, go get something from, that's still downstairs that I keep meaning to bring up and I haven't. Okay. All right, so what you do is you take your base and we're going to tear, I'm going to tear along here like this. All right. And we're going to ink it so that you can tell the difference in the layers. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this is G. Kerr. And I didn't watch, I admit, sorry G, I happened to see this. I did not watch the video, but I saw the thumbnail and I was intrigued and I thought it was really pretty. So I'm giving it a shot in my own kind of haphazard way. Now, my thought for this was to, like, make it part of the design somehow. Maybe. I mean, you can decorate these any way you want. But basically, you're going to take this and you're going to put it on here. And this, of course, is going to depend on how much of each design you want sticking out. I mean, you've got a very small space that you're working with here. So I'm going to glue this one here. Like so. Okay. And then similarly, we are going to, I think I'll do this, this is the cardstock. This is, well, that's also cardstock. Okay, so I'm just going to tear a little bit off down at the bottom. So I'm just going to have a little bit showing at the bottom of the stripes. So like that. We're going to layer this one. So this will have multiple layers, yeah. And I'm still going to use the honey, wild honey, to do the inking. I like this wild honey when you want like a, it's almost like a lighter vintage photo. I mean, it's more yellows and oranges than browns, but you get what I mean. All right, and we're going to glue this on here. So these end up being little charms or dangles or, you know, like that kind of a deal. All right, and then you could put this on. I just want a little bit of the flower. So we're going to go right across the middle of the flower. And again, I'm going to ink it. All the way around. And then we're going to glue this to the top of that. And this is layered. And I don't know that I would put a lot of bling on this one just because it's got foiled. You see the foil on the cardstock. So this cardstock happens to have foil on it. So there's not necessarily any reason to put bling on there, but you could. I mean, there's nothing stopping you. Okay, and then for this one, I was thinking about doing something like that. I actually like that. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, you can also make these small if you want to. And as far as scrap dangles go, they don't have to be round. This is just in addition to things you can do with circles. This happens to be something that you can do with circles. But I mean, you can make these out of any torn scraps. You just layer up torn scraps and stick on the hardware, which I'm going to go get. Okay, so there we have those. Now, well, both of them are on double-sided cardstock, actually. The other thing you can do is I could take this piece and decorate the back of this, since I'm going to see it, right? Maybe I do it the opposite. I mean, since it's seen, most charms end up being double-sided, unless you end up gluing these down, but the hardware that we're going to put on them in a second, you're going to have to give me a minute, but the hardware that we're going to put on them tends to indicate that they will not be glued down. Okay, like that. And then, just like we did with this one, maybe I'll stick this on here. Well, that's a lot bigger, isn't it? I don't know if I like it as much that big. I mean, you could. I don't know that I like that though, so I'm not gonna go there. But anyway, so when you tear the circles, hang on to the scraps because you might be able to use them. Give me just a second, and I'll be right back. So as you can see, I have my stuff here that I need. Oh, we haven't done the bling. This is gonna be a long video, guys. That's because it was unexpectedly something more than I thought it was gonna be. But hey, we got a couple of different ways to use stuff. All right, I'm going to get some eyelets and some other... There's a couple ways to do this. One of which is to put, depending on what kind of circle you've got, one of the ways you can do this is to put a ribbon end at the top. I don't know if I brought... Actually, my pliers I didn't grab when I was downstairs, so we're going to try and use these without cutting through. Okay, so kind of center it to where it needs to be, and then it just pinches closed. I'm just going to pinch it that far. Not to mention the fact that I can still wiggle it, so if I need to, I can. Okay, so we're pinch it on there like that. And the reason I say I'm going to pinch it that far is because these are actually a cutter, not a plier, and I don't want to mess that up. Okay, and then I need another one for the other charm. It's funny, I have two widths. Anyway, I have this width and I have that width. There's not like an in-between, which I think is hysterical. Okay. I'll close that and we're going to put this little guy on here. Now, I don't know. Yeah, I'm probably going to need the pliers because I need the teeth to bite, and they're not biting. I mean, they're biting a little bit, but they're not biting. Hot glue would also probably work. So those are the two options that I have anyway, for the top. And then on the bottom, I've got some eyelets, and I'm going to get, oh, for pity's sake. I love trying to grab little things with big fingers. I want a copper one for this one, and I want a gold one for this one, like that. Okay. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to put holes in the bottom, and then we're going to put the eyelets in. Okay, that's one. That's two. I'm hoping, but I think it needs to be that one. that one, I think, if I am not mistaken. Okay, now what I usually do, because this is the easiest way for me to do it, is I stick the eyelet through the hole, and then I put the hole up on the little post, and then I bring it down. Okay, and then I got a little eyelet in the bottom. All right, and then we'll do the same thing with this one. Like that. Put the eyelet up on the post, and then... Okay, and then that's what I was talking about with the busted back, because that's how it pinches it down. I mean, it's not anything, it's just that's how they close. All right, let's put that out of the way. Now, last thing we want to do, and I'm thinking a bee charm on one of these. And I don't know which one, but a bee charm nonetheless. And then I have all kinds of charms in here. It could take me days. Oh, wait, maybe put the bee charm on there. Never mind, didn't take me days. Okay, excuse me. All right, and finally, bulb pins. Now, for these, you could probably just dangle that through there if you've got enough space. Like this has a loop at the top of the charm and then a jump ring. You know, it might just be easier to get jump rings. I don't know if I have any gold ones is the problem. So it's going to look a little funny. Well, maybe. All right, so I'm going to stick this through here. I hope. Stick it through there. And we're going to hang this off of here. And then we're going to close that. I hope. It'd probably be a lot easier if I was actually using pliers and not cutters, but they're doing the job for now. Okay, and then you have a little dangle, and then you take a bulb pin. I have colored ones. Maybe not that color. I don't know if I should use, I guess I could use an orange one. You take a bulb pin, and you stick it through this part. And voila, you have a dangle charm. That's really cute. Is that not adorable? And then you can dangle that off of, you know, something. And I did it both sides, so it's pretty much a double-sided thing. Okay? And then you would do the same thing. I'm not going to torture you with jump rings and all of that again, but you get the idea. So I will put this B one on the bottom of here and a bulb pin in the top of that one. Like so. So it'll be the same deal. And then it'll have this little bee dangling off the bottom. And you've got yourself a nice little charm. That one is double-sided, but I mean, more than likely what I would do, if I would take a label and put like a word back there. You know, or like with the bees, they do a lot of play on words, so like be kind or, you know, something like that. And put that on the back there. And then you've got these little charms. So you can make circle charms. We made these guys, which, of course, this is ready for decoration. And you can put all kinds of stuff on here. I mean, we made 2 of these. Okay, now, last thing I wanted to do. One of my favorite flower centers, by the way, just so you know, is these. I love these. I think they make great flower centers. but you can be simple. Like if you don't have any of this extra stuff, this is very simple. You can do all kinds of things for the centers of these. The other thing you can do is buttons. Button, who's got a button? Okay, so here's these ones. These are the ones that and all my things are, well, I don't want to do the same thing as the center. Okay, so we have all of this, flowers. Let's see if we can find some centers for some of these. So one of the things you can do is you can just put a circle of paper in the middle. So like, I don't think any of my large ones would. I'm looking for something that's relatively solid or relatively. So I could stick a piece of paper in the middle like that and just have a paper center in my flower. Yeah. For one this big, you might use a piece like that. Okay. And that doesn't, of course, mean that you can't then continue and layer. So I could still stick that in there. All right. Now on these smaller ones, I got a piece of paper on that one. I can stick a button on this one, or one of these smaller ones. There's a shiny white button. You can stick that on there. Right? And if you have some of these bigger flowers, you might be able to stick like I have this purple button that I could stick on here. Okay, so that's all ideas for centers. But let me show you how this looks. I think I want to put this in that center. So let me show you how this looks. Now, if you get these, I get these at Dollar Tree, by the way. This is not expensive. This is your $1.25 craft stuff. These come on they're on a little tape. So this whole strip is stuck together. So I like to cut it apart on the acetate. It's easier for me that way. And if you want, you can just cut that piece out. I'm gonna put this back in my drawer. Now, the next one you go down, of course, is going to be missing. So you're only going to be able to get a full flower out of every other one. And then you can take the other pieces and do whatever you want with them. But just so you know. And then you take this off, and it's got a sticky back on it. So I just take it and center the pearl. And how cute is that? All right, guys. So things to do with your circles. We've got flowers, charms, hidden paperclip tabs, and cluster belly bands. So get your scraps and your circle punches and make stuff. I hope you guys liked these. As I said before, I don't remember where I saw these. I will go find the lady who did this. This was G. Kerr, and these were something I did a long time ago in one of those collab things that Turquoise Dreaming was doing for a while. And I did circles. So I made these a long time ago for a Halloween journal, and I love them. So yeah, so get out your circle punches and your scraps and make cute things. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.